So how do you enforce a custody and parenting time order? I got this question from one of our clients. It comes up a lot, unfortunately. You got a custody order in place, you got a parenting time order in place, and you think you're all set, and you're following it, and then ex-wife, ex-girlfriend, whoever she is, just stops letting you see the kids. Show up to get them, she tells you can't have them, or she tries to get in front of it, texts you in advance and says you can't get the kids this weekend because of whatever, and some excuse. And with the client that I was talking to about this, it turned out it had been a couple months since he had seen his kids. He had a valid court order. He had something telling him what the custody and parenting time arrangement was. And so I want to talk today about some strategies of what to do for enforcement and how to deal with this issue and how to avoid this issue and how to get through this. So yeah, I'm attorney Brent Boyer from Adam, of course. And so let's talk about that. Let's talk about custody and parenting time and enforcement and what all that looks like. So, it certainly can depend on your county, first of all, but in general, enforcement is unfortunately going to usually come down to having to file a motion and go back to court is the easiest way. That's one remedy of how you would do this, how you enforce a court order so that you can see your children and get the other parent to follow what the court order says and what they should already be doing in the first place. The other parent doesn't have the right to just play judge and jury and decide because of whatever issue, drinking, or they're upset, or whatever might be going on, that now you can't see the kids anymore, or they don't like your girlfriend, or whatever the excuse might be. So they can't just do that. If there's a court order that says you have custody, you have parenting time, whatever it says, then that's what you have. Those are your rights. So that court order describes the rights that the mother has towards the children. It also describes the rights that the father has toward the children. So the problem we'll see, first of all, with enforcement is a court order it's too vague. It says every other weekend, which makes sense, but that's all too easy. You show up for your weekend and the mom can just say it's not your weekend. And then she could just keep saying that every weekend, because who's gonna be able to keep track or prove it or do anything about it, right? Outside of taking her back to court, nobody's gonna see that as parental kidnapping. It's just confusion between the two of you, even though it's all her purpose, her agenda is to shut you out and try to stop you from seeing the kids, or she thinks she has a valid reason and she doesn't, whatever the case may be. So first of all, a more specific order is gonna serve you better. And the best example of this I saw one time, it was actually through St. Clair County, one of the smaller counties in Metro Detroit area. And what their front of the court does, if you want it, is they'll put every other weekend, but then it also tells you which weekend is yours, the exact dates from now for the next, however many years you need till the child turns 18. If you got a 5-year-old, they'll put in a court order for the next 13 years, what weekends are yours. Now it sounds a little crazy and might be overreacting, but some people need it. I mean, we've had clients in the past where he would show up to get his kids after a long drive to pick up the kids. He was driving almost an hour one way just to get them. And then ex-wife would say, yeah, it's not your weekend. And she just would keep doing that, and the police can't really do anything about it. It's not their job to enforce those kind of things. It's a domestic dispute, and they tell them to take her back to court. But what we were able to do when we took her back to court in that case is we got specific dates. We said, yeah, not only is it every other weekend, but I can tell you which weekend is yours for the next 15 years. And we know. And then people can make plans. If you got to go, you have a special event or something going on, you got to go by that schedule. There's no exception. The two of them then would have to work it out if there's going to be an exception. There's a written order. So that's one strategy, is just get a more specific order, have something in the first place, because it's tough to enforce these orders. It's tough to get anybody's attention. The police aren't really here to worry about your parenting time. So you need a specific enough order. If you're gonna have someone that's gonna play games, or someone starts playing games, the remedy is to go back to court, yes, but what do you do when you go back to court? You get a more specific order. You also ask for penalties, you ask for enforcement. It's front of the court, front of the court's job is to enforce the court orders. They can't do it, of course, Sunday at 6 p.m. because they're not available, but there needs to be enforcement of it, and the best enforcement is a more specific order, and you get that. A lot of different ones that are out there, but the every other weekend is the best example I can think of. So I hope that helps, and please subscribe to the channel or like the video. Thanks.